With the number of supplements available nowadays, it's easy to get lost in the complexity of what is good and what you should take. For that very reason, I'm making this video. Hey everyone, welcome to Science-Based Fitness. This is a supplement video that's supposed to kind of help you get a general overview of what supplements I personally recommend. Now I'm basing this on the science and what's been shown to be effective. I will mention a few studies, but I have done videos on a handful of these supplements in the past. So at the end of the video, there will be sources to each of those other videos I have made, and you can click on those and see more further depth reviews if you want to. But without further ado, let's jump right into this first supplement. If you're trying to build muscle or cut down on body fat percentage, my first recommendation is creatine. Now, I've recently done a video on explaining the science on how creatine works, linked in the description as I just mentioned. But to summarize, creatine is a safe supplement that can improve your ATP production, which can improve strength gains, and in studies is shown to aid in body fat reduction when trying to lose weight. Some of the criticism behind supplements is that they're not regulated, nor are they studied for long-term usage. Creatine is one of the most well-studied supplements out there, and even the Mayo Clinic stated, creatine is likely safe to take up to 5 years. Now, I've made creatine a staple of my training for the last few years, and I think you should consider it for yourself. Protein is a fundamental requirement regardless of if you're working out or not. Protein aids in cellular repair and can help build more muscle. Eating protein often tends to provide a greater feeling of satiety, which is helpful when trying to not overeat. If you Google how much protein you should have in a day, you'll find so many different opinions. Well, just like the first supplement, I made a more in-depth video on this, and in that video I discuss a meta-analysis that reviewed this topic and stated that roughly 0.75 grams per pound of body weight is the ideal recommendation. So, for example, I weigh 165 pounds, and at that 0.75 would roughly be 123 grams of protein for a day. For a more in-depth breakdown on things like timing and when you should be taking your protein, check out that video in the description. If we consume an adequate amount of protein in our diet, we do not need to be supplementing protein. But having a whey protein shake is 1, easily digestible, 2, assures you're getting enough protein, which is critical for building muscle, and 3, if adding a protein shake on top of what you believe is the adequate amount of protein, there will be no adverse effects, even if you're over-consuming, as long as you're not predisposed to any kidney issues. So I definitely recommend protein supplementation. Now, protein is made up of amino acids, which is going to take us to a more controversial supplement, which is BCAAs. So the controversy surrounds these 3 main premises. 1, does it work? 2, to what degree? And 3, at what cost? So BCAAs are advertised as an aid in muscle protein synthesis, which is true, although this is the same with protein supplementation. And when it comes to recovery time and a reduced feeling of fatigue, well, a 2018 study reviewed this and found slightly less levels of reported fatigue in the group that took BCAAs, but statistically at the end of the study they stated, therefore, when consumed with a diet that consists of 1.8 grams per kilogram a day of protein, which is less than what I recommended you take earlier, and presumably higher daily protein intake, it appears that BCAA effects on muscle recovery are negligible. So it sounds like there might be a very small benefit, but it's personally totally up to you if you're gonna take BCAAs. I figured I would include it. I don't personally take them, but I think this might revolve around, do you have a perfect diet? If you have a perfect diet, you probably don't need to take these. But if you struggle getting all of your required amino acids, adding this in might be beneficial. So that will be personal preference. If you have the extra money, then maybe give it a shot, see how you feel, but I don't think this is required for everyone to take. The final supplement I want to discuss is caffeine. Caffeine, used correctly, is beneficial in strength, endurance, and recovery. The form that you take caffeine in is your personal preference. I take it in the form of a pre-workout, but not all pre-workouts are the same. Some have higher levels of theanine, betaine, or caffeine. Understanding the complexity of what's in these products get tricky. I'm planning to release a video here on the channel very soon explaining what ingredients do you need and the scientific breakdowns, so subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to stay up to date when I release that video. Now, when it comes to caffeine supplementation, I think we need to consider a few things. 1, if you're sensitive to caffeine. 2, if you have any cardiovascular limitations. And 3, the time of day you're taking this caffeine and if it's going to interfere with sleep. We know that sleep plays a huge role in building muscle, so we want to make sure we're not sacrificing sleep at the expenditure of just simply taking a pre-workout. Now, I'm someone who's personally sensitive to caffeine, and when I take a pre-workout, I typically use half the dosage that they recommend. I don't like the feeling of being overly stimulated. Now, with the cardiovascular limitations, if you're someone who has any cardiovascular issues, talk to your doctor before deciding to take any type of pre-workout, simply due to the large doses of caffeine, and increasing the heart rate might not be beneficial. So that's creatine, BCAAs, protein, and caffeine. Those are the 4 supplements I covered today in this video, and I definitely recommend them, but I will say BCAAs, I was obviously on the fence about. The caffeine supplementation, that's limited to certain people. And at the end of the day, remember, they're called supplements for a reason. If you have that perfect diet, you don't necessarily need to take these in supplement form. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Click like and subscribe to the channel. Stay up to date on all my future videos, and we'll see you guys next time. Let me know in the comments, did I skip anything or leave anything out that you would recommend to everyone else? And maybe I'll do a video on that topic. Thanks guys, have a good day. I want to leave a disclaimer here. These are simply my recommendations. I'm not a doctor. If you're unsure of any of these products and how it will affect you, simply talk to your doctor. They should be able to give you more personalized advice.